But you are.
I'm being serious.
I know.
You know, the man turned into a myth and a legend, and that was the moment where you got to see it in action. That was so cool. So first of all, we're drinking some tea, right? What are you drinking, Mark?
Actually, my wife has made for me one of my teas. This is actually just a Bigelow herbal tea, fruit and spice. I'm not big on regular chai teas, however you want to mention it. My wife, on the other hand, is a little old country girl from Arkansas, and she is all about the iced tea.
Nice. Sweet tea? Is it sweet tea for her?
Oh yeah, oh definitely. Sweet tea. She's got to have her sweet tea, whether it's sun tea, iced tea, that's her sweet tea, that's her thing. I prefer the herbal teas.
Nice. I'm drinking an herbal tea as well. I'm doing small flowered willow herb tea because I was like, what's the most manly tea that I can drink for our man session? And it's prostate support, right?
T, will you just give us another little intro? It was a little glitchy when we went live, so.
Yeah, sure. In case you're just joining us, it's TQ and JQ here at Tea Time at the Apothecary. We do this every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We talk about health, life, grooming, personal care. And we have today a very special guest, our good friend, Mantic59, as he's known across the world on YouTube by millions of people, AKA Mark, Sharpologist, grooming expert.
Cookie expert.
My wife is the cookie expert. She said since
cookie eating expert.
Since we were having tea time, I had to have cookies to go with my tea.
Nice.
So she made some cookies for me as well.
Nice. And Jay, you missed it. I think there's a cat in Mark's lap.
Oh, she says they're dark chocolate M&Ms. So nice. Yeah, I'm all about dark chocolate.
Tell her next time we should arrange it far enough ahead of time that we can get a box in the mail. So
oh, okay.
They eat them together.
They want a box in the mail for the next one. Yeah. She's up for it.
All right, cool. That's awesome. Anyway, thank you for joining us and drinking tea, even if it's not your normal thing. But I want to talk about some things that are your normal thing, which is men's shaving. So when I met you, like you said, it was surreal. You came to our Great Shave event in 2010. I think we were all sort of blown away by the response of having 200 plus people with a waiting list to get in to come to this space in a hotel.
Oh, was there a waiting list?
Yeah, we had people actually saying like they had to check in, and they were showing up and they were waiting to make sure that they had enough room to let them in.
I never knew that.
Yeah, you were busy.
That's amazing.
I was running around like, oh my God, there's more people than we can fit on this damn mezzanine, you know? It was crazy. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. After all this time, I never knew that.
Yeah, we totally sold out. We sold out so fast that there was a promotional company, a big Chicago luxury magazine that was supposed to help deliver people there. And by the time they promoted it was already totally full. And they were kind of pissed about it.
Oh my gosh, I never knew.
Yeah, that's how big you are. Now you even realize you're even bigger than you thought, man.
Mark did a live shave at that event, and he did it in some pretty dim light.
pretty dim light with pretty tepid water, with 125 men who are all watching to see what he does, and probably half of
cameras. And cameras in your face.
Well, now, don't forget, I was also using products available at Small Flower and Merz, too. As I recall, I think I was using Trumper. I think I was using Trumper and a Mercure Progress razor.
Yeah.
My recollection.
Yeah.
I remember. I think I delivered them to you. Yes.
Yeah. Good times. So back then, you were sort of blowing up on YouTube, right? Your Mantic videos. You were little did you know, did any of us know you were 5 years away from sort of doing this as a side gig, fun thing to be making it your full-time. This is what you do now, right?
Yes, this is what I do. I actually took early retirement from my desk job, which was becoming very unsatisfying back in 2015. And I am now doing this full-time and making a living at it. Believe it or not. No one is more surprised than I.
Yeah, it's so cool. That's really,
So,
really great.
Mantic, what it was the, when did you realize like, this is awesome. I find it interesting. There's a community here, but oh, this is bigger than we all thought it was going to be. What was the moment?
When I started the Sharpologist website in 2011, it was with the help of for lack of a better word, a convert of mine in Milwaukee, who just happened to own a digital media company as well. And he said, look, you've got this group on YouTube, which is now, my subscribers are 32,000, which is still pretty good.
Yeah.
But you really need to have a website presence and be able to even earn some money off of it, if you will, with advertising and things like that.
Yeah.
And he convinced me to start the website in 2011. And by 2015, it was obvious to me that there were so many people interested and kind of changing their way of shaving that I was able to go full time, which was the most amazing thing to me I could ever believe. And it's been going great guns ever since.
It's great. I want to tell people out there to subscribe to your newsletter, because your email list is really cool. You send these amazing tips that are sort of, obviously there's great shaving stuff in there, but there's also, it's like a little history lesson sometimes. There's a lot of like old shaving advertisements in them. There's tons of fun things in there for anyone who's into design, anyone who's into just history, marketing, how things were marketed in the past in shaving. Is so funny to look at from then till now. And just also sort of some of the deep dives on the peripheral edges of what shaving is about and shaving creams and formulations in a really cool way. So props to you for the newsletter. It's great.
Thank you. I appreciate that. In fact, the next one will come out Tuesday. I try and send them out every Tuesday.
Nice.
And what you kind of touched on is one of the really amazing things that a lot of people get from learning about old school shaving is really the history and the memories it brings up. I get so many emails and messages about, hey, I remember my father or my grandfather doing this, and I remember as a little kid standing at his feet in the bathroom as he was shaving. And there's a real historical family connection to a lot of this that a lot of people don't realize until they get into it. And it brings back these wonderful memories and kind of a lost time, if you will, or a simpler time that they hearken back to.
Yeah, you got a visitor there.
Cat.
Yeah. Tea, cookies, cat. It's so homey where you are. You know?
That's right.
Yeah.
And so this is another thing about my my job, if you will. I can go to work in the morning in my pajamas if I want to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Welcome, man.
Yeah, that's cool. So, I guess one of the things that it strikes me, and I've always felt this, but I'm feeling it especially strongly right now, when you're talking about hearkening back to this time and these memories, I have to, for me at least, part of the joy of shaving with a safety razor and using the tools that I have is that it's technology, but it's not technology as we think about it today. And it's so nice to use something that is like
manual,
a tool rather than a device. Do you
Simple
know what I mean?
and straightforward.
Yeah.
I mean, a safety razor like like this one, very simple device, but used properly can give you as good or better of a shave as a fancy 17 blade vibrating razor that tries to
with like a $50 million marketing campaign.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But also like, as good of or better, but also less irritating. I think
that's very true.
You know,
Yes.
that's the selling point for us all the time, especially being that, you know, we have thick hair. We're half South Asian, and we get this really thick hair. And I used to just deal with 2 giant patches of a
Bumps
sore,
on
a
your-
live sore. That was just like every time I shaved. And I just thought this is how it has to be. And because it was fast to use a Mach 3, and they sent me one on my 16th birthday for free.
And they still, from what I understand, Gillette still sends out razors on somebody's 16th or 18th birthday, depending on who you talk to. And they're very popular, very successful at it. But
probably
even
my
P&G,
last name, they probably were like, he needs it at 16. They probably should have sent it at 12.
I know the feeling. But even P&G, Gillette has realized that, you know, so many blades are not necessarily a good thing. They've come out just recently, last year, with the Gillette Skin Guard with only 2 blades.
Yeah, the track 2, they know that people who know, and especially the generation above us who never went past the track 2, because 2 blades is a lovely shave. And it does get a little bit lower than 1 blade in 1 stroke. And I actually have in
on a
times
cartridge power.
on a cartridge, yeah, because when I've been in a hotel or something where I had to use whatever they had at the front desk, or that my luggage was lost or whatever, I've used the disposable little track 2s that they keep at the hotel, and I've had pretty good shaves with them, you know. But when I get into 3 or more,
advantage of a better technique. You've learned a better technique, which can apply to any razor and get better performance out of any razor, simply because you now know how to properly shave in the first place, which a lot of people have really lost because fathers or grandfathers are not teaching, or hadn't been teaching their children the correct way to shave.
100%. And just like the idea of, you know, to me, the thing that always stands out to me is when I learned to do traditional shaving was the idea of lubrication, the prep and the lubrication of the whiskers. And, you know, when I first started, it was a can of foam, and that's not lubricating, right? So it was like, I was always tearing my neck up, irritating my face, doing whatever. It felt bad. And then, so you can still get a decent shave, but when you combine sort of a great brush, lubrication, all of that stuff, you know, all the prep work, the softening of the whiskers through shower and then through a towel, all the things that you teach, then you take a great tool like a safety razor, you actually get an amazing shave, you know?
Absolutely.
So I guess, you know, one of the things that is interesting to me, and you kind of touched on it, is that there's different types of entrepreneurship we celebrate right now. And entrepreneurs, a lot of times in our mainstream media, we celebrate the people who make something, who come across, they're sort of like the geniuses who had the idea that blew up and changed the face of the world. So the Steve Jobs model, like, you know, archetype. But I think that to me, I'm really, maybe because this is where we live, is that, and where a lot of the people that I know do live, and I'm kind of putting you in this category, it's the people who find a way to turn what they love or something that has a narrow audience, but blow it up for that narrow audience and become the expert in what they do and build a following. And I think it's so cool that you were able to do that. And I guess I started thinking about this when I heard you were, you know, when we reconnected and you were going to come on the show. And I would say, first of all, congratulations to you for doing that.
Thank you.
It's so cool. But then I guess, tell me about running a shaving oriented grooming business, you know, which is, like you said, you make a living off of it, but it's not, your main competition isn't P&G, it's you're an educator for people who want to learn a better way to do this. And I guess I was thinking, how is that going during a time when even guys who run a grooming retail business are having beards, you know, and there's less shaving going on right now, I think.
It's actually doing quite well, because
Good.
even as a coach, if you will, someone who, people that come to my site know I'm not pushing my own product. They understand that I'm trying to get them a better shave no matter what they use, I tend to gravitate towards specific products for specific reasons. Like, for example, you know, the double-edged razor, particularly in this economy we kind of find ourselves in, the typical cartridge is what, $3 or $4. The typical razor blade, old school single edge or single edge, double edge or single edge,
Yeah.
it's a quarter, it's 15 cents at bulk.
Yeah.
And you get just as good of a shave or better with the proper technique. And I teach the proper technique. That's where things kind of blow up a little bit, where people realize, oh, it's not really about shaving off hair. It's about reducing hair in stages until you get a point where you find yourself getting an acceptable shave, because the hair's going to grow back anyway.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
shave properly and maintain a reduced, skin-friendly stubble.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. I think that's, you know, you're an expert, obviously, because it's absolutely right.
Now, there are razors, and I'm not pushing something specifically here, but I do want to mention that there are razors that try and bridge the gap for people that maybe want to try a safety razor or a single edge versus the convenience and comfort of a cartridge. You know, for example, and it's just an example, here is a one blade. This is an expensive razor, don't get me wrong, but it has a pivot like a conventional cartridge razor, and a lot of people find that a great bridge, if you will, to where they find something that's familiar to them in one respect but new in another respect.
How do you find the shave on the one blade?
The one for me, for my particular circumstances, actually this one blade is one of my absolute favorite razors, even though it's expensive. I love it. It is consistent. It is close for me in a multi-pass environment where I'm not trying to lop it off all at once. The blades are a little higher cost than a double-edged razor blade, but still acceptable. I love it, and they do actually have come out with a couple of new models that are lower cost, which really helps, because this is full stainless steel. It's not inexpensive, but they are making some less expensive razors, which is nice to know.
Have you tried the leaf?
Actually, I have tried the leaf, and I enjoy the leaf. The real thing I like about the leaf is actually two things. The pivot scheme is very loose, if you will, so it's easy to use. If you accidentally use too much pressure, it'll compensate. And then with the leaf, you can also put in 1, 2, or 3 blades. Yeah. So if you want to just use a single blade and it takes a half of a double-edged razor blade, you can get a very customizable shave. The only real issue I have with the leaf is that because of the size of the head, it can make shaving tight areas like under the nose a bit of a challenge. But on the other hand, and maybe they don't want me saying this, I don't know, but it's getting ready to come out. Leaf is coming out with a Kickstarter here very, very soon for a new razor that uses one snapped in half double-edged razor blade. They're calling the Twig. It does not have a pivot in it like the leaf razor, but it's a very small head that will easily get into tight areas. So I'm really interested to see how that kicks off on their Kickstarter and how they get that going. I'll be covering that, I'm sure, on Sharpologist when it comes out.
It's awesome. I think a lot of our audience, our female audience, will be interested because, you know, I think they're interested in trying something new that saves money and also saves plastic and waste. And so the leaf, with that kind of pivoting that it has, it seems like it's a real good fit for armpits.
armpits and legs. The leaf is excellent for shaving large areas like the legs. And as you said, it is a fully metal razor. It uses metal double-edged razor blades, which are recyclable or easily dealt with after they're done. And yeah, it's a really good way of being friendlier to the environment while still being friendly to your shaving routine.
That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
That's a big driver for us. I think, especially the younger generation, like below us, it ends up being such a big. Hey, gee, that's
Good.
Mantic.
Hey, Mantic. Last time I saw you was at the Palmer House
We were just
a long time ago.
yeah.
We were just talking about that.
Oh, how's your family?
They're fine, thank you.
Awesome.
Anyway, so we, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I was just saying, like, I think the generation younger than us, you know, definitely is driving the trend toward pushing everything to minimal waste right now. And I think it's the right thing to do. And so we are always looking, it's like one of the things I'm proud of is that, like, my shaving waste just takes up nothing. It's like just the metal blade and a piece of paper and a little tiny thing of cardboard, essentially.
Even your shaving creams are so efficient, right? Like, I'm using one for many months. I'm almost like annoyed because I want to try another one, you know? So
Yeah, and well, what's not efficient is under the drawer under my sink that has like 47
Yeah, me too.
shave cream.
Me too.
Until I, you know, that I fill up. But
I just cleaned it back down to like a dozen, and I feel like I'm flying light now. Yeah.
The crew here at Merz is about to get you know, if they don't mind using a couple time used shave creams, they're about to get a bounty because I'm about to do a cleaning myself. So, but you know, that's part of the joy in my mind. But actually,
All right, let's go around. Let's go around. Who's favorite shave cream right now? Solid shave cream.
So it'd be a shave soap.
Shave soap.
Thank you.
Just right now. You don't.
I'm also getting lunch, by the way, along with tea and cookies.
this life is good for you, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not complaining at all. Believe me. My favorite shaving soaps at the moment, DR Harris Arlington, which
so good.
I mean, and unfortunately, they have not reformulated it into oblivion like some of the other old school English shave soaps have been.
Yeah.
DR Harris, still you get this fantastic lather, really excellent performance, and it's triple milled, so it lasts forever. I mean,
Yeah,
my gosh.
I carry that tube of cream in my travel kit because, and it makes traveling so special because that scent on top of that is just that like dusky rose and that English garden kind of scent. It's such a joy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Even my cat apparently likes it. Trying to think of some others, some other soaps I really enjoy. Of course, the artisans, the smaller artisans that are making small batches are just blowing up the niche with unbelievably fine products. I mean, names like Barrister and Mann, Katie's Bubbles, things like that. Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. They're small batch, really high quality, and last a reasonable amount of time. That and they come just about in any kind of scent you care to think of. I've got a particular one from an artisan called Katie's Bubbles, called Waterlyptus, and it's a watermelon scent, which is fantastic for the for the autumn, you know, for the fall as we're getting into.
We love Katie's Bubbles. Good stuff.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I like them.
I was gonna, since you went to say to go around, I still feel like the Provence Santé Verlaine bar of soap is just one of my favorites. I go back to it. I have it in a little terracotta dish under my sink, and like whenever I dig it up, I'm like, how have I not used this for so long? And right now, when it's hot weather, that like light, airy floral scent, and it's just a nice. I don't know, just everything about it is pleasing to me. The lather, everything is just great. So that's one of my favorites.
Awesome. Yeah, I like the I don't know how to say it, T, but it's like that, the one with the crazy design, the green and navy. It's Le Baigneur.
Aquitaine?
No,
Uh,
Le Baigneur.
Baigneur?
Yeah, Le Baigneur.
Oh,
It's just beautiful, and the smell is amazing. It's a gorgeous. I also just like the way it comes. I'm just kind of obsessed with the packaging, which I know that's a little nerdy, but I love it.
oh, hey, I'm all about the nerdy, so
Yeah.
you're fine with me.
Yeah, Mark, I'm going to send this over to you so you can see it. I don't know. I hope this doesn't show up on the screen, but there's a link I just sent to you, and look at the design on this thing. It's fantastic.
That's one of my favorites right now, and the as always, the Haslinger is like, I just like the sage one on that. I find that one to be calming and wonderful.
And really, that's the thing. A lot of people that get into traditional shaving, or at least want to upgrade their shaving, they don't realize is when they get into it, there's all these wonderful scents. You know, some of them are floral but manly at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, Trumper Violet, for example. Who would ever thought of a violet scent would be a manly scent?
Rose, you know, yeah.
You know, people are so used to shave foams or shave gels that smell like their deodorant. And here, all of a sudden, you're getting these unbelievable scents that you never experienced before. And that's what a lot of people find real joy in, and really enjoy their shaves because of that.
100%. Yeah, I don't know if you've tried, like the Ariana and Evans. He made one based on a visit to our store. So it's like he named it Q, but it's actually based on a mask of this amazing floral fragrance that we carry that he bought. And I don't even want to say it because it wasn't intended to be a knockoff of this fragrance, which is one of my favorites, the British fragrance.
It's just inspired
by. He loved it so much that he's like, I need to make a shave soap that brings me the joy that this brings. So Ariana and Evans Q soap is my favorite in a tub, partly because it's one of my favorite fragrances, but also, you know, it's nice that he's sort of dedicated to our shop, which is cool. So
that is cool. And you know, beyond that, the performance of those soaps are just fantastic too. I've got some Spartacus that just blows me away every time I use it.
Yeah, totally.
How about in cream? Should we go around once on cream too?
For me, I really like actually the same folks who make this razor, One Blade. They make a lavender scented cream that is just fantastic. I mean, the performance is just out of this world. And I'm actually more of a cream kind of guy than a soap kind of guy, so I actually use creams more often. So I actually enjoy Spike out of Germany, which is also very
sellers. Great.
I mean, it not only performs really well, but it's inexpensive. It's not that expensive at all.
It's
under 10 bucks a tube. It's amazing.
$6 or something, right?
I know,
$6.95
for that price, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. I really, I was gonna say, it's hard for me, every time I think about it, it's hard always to get past in my head the performance of Trumper Coconut. I love the Trumper Coconut, the lubrication on that. Somehow it's like beyond all the other English, whether Trumper or any of the other that I kind of put in this category in my head. The coconut has this glide on it that is just fantastic. So.
Yeah, I love that one. I think that most of the Trumper ones, if I'm not mistaken, there's fragrance in them, but when the coconut one also has, it feels like anyway, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mantic, but it has a higher concentration of coconut oil in it.
It does, yes.
And you can feel that when you're shaving. I love that one. Yeah.
That's funny because for me personally, Trumper coconut is my least favorite because there is
Too
too much
much?
coconut oil for
Yeah.
me. But a lot of people really enjoy it. You know, as I mentioned kind of earlier, I like the Trumper Violet,
Yeah.
but Trumper as a line, of course, is
Fantastic. Yeah.
obviously classic.
When I met you for the Great Shave in 2010, we also, if you remember, had Lynn Abrams with us. And Lynn Abrams, I know, is like, would always tell me, it was like Trumper coconut and God, my brain is 10 years in, my brain's failing me, but there was one other one, but he was like talking about like what he compares every shave cream against as sort of like this kind of standard of just glide and performance. And I sort of share his opinion there, but yeah, that's the great thing is like, honestly, there's no right answer, right? Like there's right for you. And that's part of, I think, the joy of what you do is that like, you're not there to tell people they're right or wrong. You're kind of giving, I appreciate your writing style and your video style because it's very explanatory and informative without sort of being like, and I know and you don't. It's like a very welcoming, inclusive style.
Thank you.
That jibed well with us because that's like our business is built on like, it's not exclusivity. It's not in the know. It's like, hey, let's talk about this and let us help you find a solution. And
Yeah, exactly.
your solution may be different than what I like. It's all good. I want to have you enjoy shaving, or in our case, whatever else we're helping someone with, you know? So,
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is true, and that's why we got along from the beginning. Is that it was about generosity, and there is, as Lynn, if you brought up Lynn Abrams, as he always said, guys, there's 7 billion people out there, and we don't have to fight over anyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, let's just help each other because it'll only come back. And I've always thought that, and that's always spoken to me. And I think that's why we've gotten along always. In terms of just, you know, I think our audience here on Facebook, at least, may be a little bit less aware about double edge and single edge shaving.
just like fine shaving technique.
Yeah, is there like is there a couple of points you might want to get them intrigued or interested? And I would say also, in addition, any that might speak specifically to women who think that this is just a men's game?
Right. Really, there are a couple of points of philosophy, I guess, is the best way to describe it, on shaving, no matter what you're using to get a better shave. And I think, one, you need to prepare the area to be shaved. Don't just slap some foam on it and try and shave without really hydrating and preparing the skin well. Assuming it's your face, give your face a good washing, a good flannel, warm flannel on it to get it moist and warm, to soften the beard, soften the hairs. And in fact, even if you're not using a razor on your face, you still want to use a cleanser that's made specifically for the face, because a body bar or deodorant bar strips off too much oil off the skin and the shave won't be as good. The second thing is, as I mentioned earlier, it's all about reducing the hair, not slicing it all off all at once. It's going to grow back up anyway, so let's just take it off in stages to the point where you're most comfortable and closest to what you want. A lot of people can't go against the grain, if you will, of their beard, but a lot of people can if they do it properly. So that's another thing to keep in mind. And really, the third thing I think a lot of people don't realize is shaving should be a very gentle act. You don't put a lot of pressure on the razor. A modern razor with a pivot can compensate partially for too much pressure, but really the razor should just glide across the face or the skin, and don't bear down on the razor. That is a big thing.
The press and drag you need to ditch the press and drag and opt for, shorter shorter, swift strokes, right?
Right. Shorter, efficient strokes. You know,
Yeah.
you can overlap, but try not to overlap a lot, just a little bit, and make a real effort not to repeat the same spot over and over and over and over and over again while you're shaving.
Yeah. And, you know, just to kind of add to that, for people who don't know, if you've never used a metal razor, it does make it so easy to take the pressure off. Like that was the game changer for me, because the first time I did it, I think I used like, you know, like the feathered, almost, I would call it like the trial or disposable double edge. And even that's pretty light. But like when I used an actual tool that was made of metal, and, you know,
The weight of
felt
the
weight.
head.
Yeah, that to me is really what makes the difference in people understanding in a tactile sense the idea of being gentle. You know what I mean?
Very much so. Yeah, it's really you don't think of, a lot of people don't think of it that way, but shaving should be a gentle process.
Yeah.
Also, you know, like you mentioned that, you know, maybe it might be difficult because we're in the situation and in a pandemic, it seems like beards have shot through the roof, but even more reason to look for a single blade where you can line up your beard so easily. Like when I was keeping a beard with a Mach 3 back in the day, I would screw up my beard, I'd say 1 out of 3 times and just go forget it, because I couldn't see where I was, you know, and you don't know which blade is catching the edge. So you can't make a straight line, you know? And what a nightmare. It was terrible. And now it's just so fast for me to do my cheeks above here and then make the line. And now I'm even able to go against the grain on an upstroke where I never used to be able to. And I have no irritation from it, you know?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. And I mean, I think I love introducing people with facial hair to traditional shaving because it's such a game changer for so many of them. Because, you know, like I would say I have a lot of like, there's a lot of friends that I have that think that they need for their beard, especially like it's like my friends of color, it's like Black friends and Latino friends who are used to being like, oh, I need to go get my beard lined up by a barber. And so I've been out with people and they're like, who does your beard? And I'm like, and right now it's bigger than it normally is, but still it's like, I take pride in that I always have clean lines. And I'm like, I do. And they're like, how do you get a clean line? And it's like introducing people to the idea of the double edge and letting them try it and then watching them come back and be like, I make my own lines and it looks good. It's such a joy to me. I love that, you know? It's cool. So I love introducing people, but more I was just kind of bringing it up, Jay, out of joking because this is the third time I've combed my hair in 5 months.
No, but I just
did it for Mark, you know?
I just meant as like it actually the opportunity.
I'm honored.
The opportunity is even greater because in some ways, because with facial hair, the line becomes even more important, right?
Yeah.
You know, and so it actually is an opportunity for even more people to be converted.
Yeah.
Because
when you're clean shaven, this is the line right there. That's all.
Yeah, and one of those blades for me lasts many shaves, you know, because I'm just twice a week cleaning it up. You know what I mean? It's so they last a long time, you know?
Yeah.
John is saying, glad I tuned in, because I do think the opposite of all these things right now, said in shame.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You mentioned lining up things and that kind of stuff. I do want to mention, you know, as you said, for clean shaven like me, just lining up sideburns could be a challenge. And it has lately become more of a challenge to me because I am participating in a research project from BIC, the people that make pens and razors. And I am actually shaving with a cartridge razor for the first time in a long, long time. This is a research razor that has an app inside of it that talks to my phone, that talks to their server, and it records how I shave. What? How it works, I'm not sure, maybe Bluetooth or something like that. But this thing and it's a regular pivoting razor.
How many blades are on it? How many blades?
There's 5 on this one.
Yeah.
They also have given me a cartridge with 4 and another cartridge with 3, and
Wow.
it knows which cartridge I'm using, and it knows how I'm shaving down to it. It said I was rinsing the razor for 2 minutes. I was using the razor to shave for 5 minutes. It was not doing anything for a minute and a half, like if I was doing something on my face.
Yeah.
And for the next month or so, I'm going to be part of their research project. And one of the very first things I discovered is I couldn't line up my sideburns anymore.
I know. And then you go, oh, well, I got to bring this one up. Oh, I got to bring this one up.
The cartridge was so big, I couldn't figure out how to use it.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. I feel like you're the shaving equivalent of the guy who gets to have the unreleased iPhone. Like, I feel so proud that you showed people on our video.
I know, that's so
this
cool.
Unreleased, computerized intelligent razor.
That's so cool.
There's actually a website where readers can, or viewers can apply to be part of this research as well. It's called The Next Big Thing, NEXTBICTHING.com. And it goes into what all they're trying to do and how they're doing it. And actually, I was somewhat surprised that they're allowing me into this research project, because I'm sure I'm going to be an outlier as far as their data is concerned from the typical shaver.
Yeah.
What? Gotta have the outliers too.
How long have you been using it?
About 2 weeks.
Okay.
For initial feedback? Anything different than what you already thought about? Was there any surprises?
It feels like a cheese grater across my skin compared to a double-edged where it's such a clean track. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just cartridges for me now are so much more uncomfortable than when I started with my Mach 3, 16 years ago. And eventually gravitated toward a single edge razor, double edged kind of thing. One blade, I guess I should say. And going back to a cartridge just feels so weird.
Yeah, I've done it a few times, just randomly, like where I forget something. I don't like it generally, and I want to hammer that point home for anyone who's watching this now. And I say this for men and for women, as well as for people who might watch it. I don't think we can overstate the degree to which, when you have not used a great razor, you think you're going to have to get used to something that's not as good or is uncomfortable. But once you learn to use it, it's actually, you realize the reverse is true. Going back to a cartridge is uncomfortable and is clearly a lesser experience in shaving. You feel like you're taking it's like riding a nice motorcycle and then being like, here's a moped, like go on a cross-country journey. You just don't want to do it. It's fine for getting across, a few blocks away, but you don't want to do it, And that's how I feel about cartridge razors.
And a lot of people that get into it and turn to me for technique, I tell them in a lot of ways, there is a different technique. There's going to be an element of unlearning some bad habits and relearning some good habits with shaving that the cartridge lets you get away with, but a double-edged razor does not. And it's not bad or good, or it's just different. But a lot of people discover that once they get over that learning curve, they do enjoy it more.
Yeah.
Sure.
One thing I never talk about enough, and I'm curious, I would imagine you probably do this, but I know you use a towel or a hot towel on the face, right? Or warm, I think you've talked about before.
In every video he does, he puts the hot towel.
What?
I said almost every video he does.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is, I think that a lot of people, when they're switching this, I always want to say, just do what I did, which is go on to wherever you buy towels, Amazon, Bed Bath & Beyond, a local store, and get like a small stack of these and keep them there so that you're not reusing the same one, which for me, that was a big, I feel like I was a kid when I stopped shaving with a cartridge, and I was just using like whatever towels there. I didn't do that, and now I have like my washcloths, my white washcloths that are. I use a fresh one every time I shave, and it's such a joy to pull out like a nice clean washcloth, get it hot, put it on my face.
Game changer. Game
You know,
changer.
and I just feel like, what did it cost me? Like $6 for like more washcloths than I could ever use.
Look,
It's
look,
nothing.
when you go get it done at the barber, you're not getting as good of a shave because they're not using like your straight razor. They're using a cracked in half double edge that slid into a shavette, you know?
Well,
And-
my barber used the feather, which is a good razor, but
Right, but in general, you're getting usually a shavette shave, right? And I feel like half the reason you go is the experience,
towel treatment.
the towel, the little neck massage, you know what I mean? It's like when I leave a barber, because I probably do a shave like that like once a year. I go in and get one done. And when I do it, I'm always leave like, I'm like, that was so great. And then I'm like, I shave better than this, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, it tends to spoil you after a while.
like I know my face, you know? Like,
And I would like to mention, as long as we're talking about washcloths and putting it on the face and things like that, I do want to mention that a clean washcloth every time is particularly important if you have acne.
Yep.
Because if you're reusing, potentially reusing a washcloth, you know, you could be cross-contaminating yourself and making things even worse if you have issues of the skin, like, for example, acne. So that's another really good reason for a clean washcloth every time.
Yeah. I felt like, you know, it's been so long that I can't say anymore whether mine were ingrown hairs or little infections, but that's what it stopped. It was like when I switched and then started using a towel, between the nice part about getting a nice clean shave at the level of the skin rather than dragging and pulling hair out with the cartridge, as well as the washcloth, all of a sudden I stopped getting any bumps. Like I used to get it every shave, and now I would say once a year I have a little bump on my neck, something like that. You know what I mean? I never get it anymore. It's great.
As we kind of are heading into the end of the hour here, Mantic, I wanted to ask you sort of like what's next sort of in shaving, and not in terms of obviously like app controlled Bic shavers. That's cool to find out about, but what's sort of next? You know, there is evolution and progression even in old school shaving.
Kind of showed us with the
Yeah, so like, you know, like the one blade. Is there other things that are coming out that you're excited about, like the twig? Like what else is kind of cool and exciting and new happening in old school shaving?
There is a bit of a revival going on right now with taking old patents from even 100 years ago, 75 years ago, and using those patent designs in a modern way. The most recent one I can think of right offhand is they're called self-lubricating open comb razors, or sometimes they're called double open comb razors. But it's a specific type of razor head that helps channel the lather onto the face and skin, or onto the skin, in a particular sort of way, and it makes shaving a little bit easier to do with less lather on the face, which I thought was interesting. Again, a number of companies are working on sort of a hybrid approach like the one blade, where it is a single edge, but with a pivot scheme. There is a brand new one out of Britain called the Broman razor, which is a similar concept. I think you'll be seeing more of that in the coming years. There are some aspects of engineering in modern razors that I think are, personally, I think are great ideas. One is the pivot. Another is called pretensioners, which is sometimes called a fin. It's got the fins below the razor to help stand up hair. Lubrication schemes, the number of blades, that kind of stuff. I think is going to become a lot less important.
Yeah.
Cool.
Makes sense. Cool.
That's awesome. All right.
Um,
Well, hey, I think we should wrap it up here.
Yeah. So
Anything else you want to say, T?
yeah, I was just going to say thank you everyone for joining us. If you haven't already done so, if you're a man or you know a man, or you're a woman who shaves your legs, anything involving shaving, Mark Mantic59 is the person to see. Go find him at sharpologist.com. Subscribe to his newsletter, which is excellent. You can find him all over the social media channels, your YouTube videos, Twitter, you name it. Wherever you want to find him, he will be there, waiting for you with great advice about shaving and grooming.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Mark, it's great to see you. We should let's not leave it so long before we talk again.
Definitely.
And we'd love to have you back. Maybe we can, these times call for interesting creativity, and I feel like maybe we do something together. Maybe there's an event that's like, appropriate for this COVID age. That would be really fun to do together. So
sure, I'm all for it. Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Thank you everyone for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Mark, if you can stick around for 1 minute, and
sure.
That'd be great.
Great.
Peace, everybody.